Hello, I am Kira the Scrivener, and today I'm coming with you with an announcement video, and we're going to be talking about middle grade magic, a readathon created by Kara from the Wild Book Garden, which is one of my favorite people in the bookish community, and she is absolutely wonderful, and you should check her out. This is a readathon that is going to be from July 14th to 24th, and it is really to promote the idea that fantasy and sci-fi and all of that in the genre of middle grade is not only for children but also for people of all ages. And I thought that if you're a lover of fantasy, I have a little bit of a historical note because I have to talk about the history of the two genres. So they used to be kind of relegated to the idea of children's literature, and not really important or anything like that. And in the 1930s, these two incredible authors met, and that would be C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. You might have heard about them. They formed this thing called the Inklings when they were at Oxford, and they really loved writing together, and they were both like classics and all of that. I won't get into all of that, but they studied and taught and were professors, and they wanted to write stories that showed that people of all ages could enjoy children's literature of fantasy and science fiction. And in the 1930s, they decided that C.S. Lewis would write science fiction and Tolkien would write fantasy. So they wrote the Space Trilogy as well as The Hobbit, and then would later on go on to their more famous works of the Chronicles of Narnia and The Lord of the Rings, as well as many other books for both of them. But the idea and the introduction and dedication to the first Narnian book, which is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, is dedicated to Jack Lewis's goddaughter Lucy, and it says, "One day you will be old enough to read fairy tales again." And this is actually the banner of my YouTube channel, because it's something that I'm really obsessed with, the idea that, you know, it's kind of foolish to only believe that fantasy and science fiction is written for children. And so if you love either of those genres, you kind of owe your love and the kind of genesis of the genre and recreation, rebirth of it in the 20th century to the idea and of children's literature. So you should love children's literature. That was a long rant about nothing. Let's go back into the video. Will we? Anyways, the hosts, for my fellow hosts, and as well as Kara, obviously, she created and also is part of it, is Cozy Reader Kelly, as well as Yvette from The Book Cave, and they are incredible. I recently discovered them and have been binging their videos, so that has been super fun. And yeah, they are people who talk about middle grade on their channel, and I am trying my best. I didn't for a while, and now I've been kind of reintroducing myself to the age range, and it is wonderful, and there's some beautiful stories told to that. So the idea is kind of to look through the things and debunk some of the misconceptions surrounding middle grade as an age range. So Kara is brilliant, and she kind of did this and made a challenge, made a myth buster, and then made a challenge to go along with that. And I think that's really cool. You can double it over, you can triple it over, however over you want to. We don't care. This isn't really focused on numbers, it's more focused on experience, whether it's something that you're kind of introducing yourself into, and or it's something that you love and you're just going to be like, yes, give me all the MG, I can talk. And yeah, or if you're somewhere in the middle like me, so that's great. So the first one is one, and it's find your favorite, and this is a myth that middle grade is a genre and rather than an age range and everything is the same, you know, that thing. And it's just simply read your favorite genre. So my favorite genre is the combination, depending on the day, classic, science fiction, or fantasy. You can read all connected, all one, you know. And you can do that and really kind of like the difference between genre and age range and find your favorite in that. And number two is sugar and spice, and this is the misconception that everything is light and fluffy in middle grade, and the challenge associated with this would be to read a darker middle grade. This can deal with like dark issues like death or illness, but it can also just look at things that have a little bit more depth to it, as well as just, it can be very challenging things. For instance, talking about feminism or racism, aggression of all sorts, prejudice, all of that, as well as just LGBT plus community and identity and all of things that can be needed to be talked about more with younger audiences and are important and deep. And you know, things like grief and illness and all of those can also come into those. It's really your choice. You can interpret these as you wish. We're not going to be nitpicky about it. 3 is kind of in tangent in some areas, but that is boosting voices, and this is the idea that middle grade is all the same and there's not a lot of differentiating between that, and the challenge between that is to read an Ownvoices novel. If you're not sure what an Ownvoices novel is, it's the idea of reading books by authors who write from their own experience of marginalized communities. This can be based on race, sexuality, sex, all of these things, and just really carrying these, because these are voices that have often been silenced and quieted and haven't had a voice, and we really want to promote and really encourage people to support people that voices really need to be heard, rather than just a homogenous thing of all the same. So 4 is bend the rules, and this is from the myth that there's a very specific non-negotiable characteristics of middle grade. And it's kind of more challenging if you're not that immersed into the middle grade age range, and that is to read a book that doesn't quite fit middle grade but kind of does, and it can be because the age is slightly different or just different aspects of it. There's more explanation in the Word doc that will be linked below, because, I'm not expecting you to remember all of this by yourself. We don't have to have incredible memories. But yeah, I think we are going to be doing recommendations based on this. You can do your recommendations. We love content. So go ahead, do that. Yeah, so that's my advice. Very conclusiveness. And 5 is the final one, and this one is exciting, and it's reader's choice. And this is the myth that middle grade is only for kids, and to kind of read that, just read a book that you're really excited about. And I know that there's many that I'm really excited about, so I'm really excited to see what you're excited about. That's way too many excited in that one sentence. Okay, wow. Yeah, so we hope you join us. We hope you have fun. We hope you talk about it and all of that. There will be a Twitter to be determined, and there'll be a Word doc down below that you can look at and see and all of that. And keep reading. Tell me how you're doing. Tell me what you're writing. Go subscribe to my wonderful co-hosts because they're incredible. And happy reading and writing, and